Good morning, Amazing Kids family. This is Miss Ashley, and this is going to be your therapist tip of the week. So today I just wanted to provide some general tips about making learning dressing skills easier. It's a question that OTs get asked frequently and that we frequently work on. So today I just wanted to provide some general tips that can make learning dressing easier. The first one would be positioning. Positioning is one of the most important components of making dressing easier. So for example, making sure that your kiddo has a stable position that they're sitting in, whether that's in a chair or on a firm bed with their feet supported. If their sitting balance is a little bit poor, then sitting against the wall can help, or when they're trying to put on their socks, maybe sitting on the floor because that makes it easier for them to reach their feet. Just bend their leg and reach their feet. So positioning is huge when you're learning dressing skills. Another general tip is that undressing is easier than dressing. So start with just undressing. And then when you're progressing to putting on the clothing, it can be helpful to dress in front of the mirror. That way they're getting visual cues and they can kind of see more easily whether something is oriented incorrectly, it's backwards, or whether their arm is getting stuck, whatever the case may be. Another tip is to follow a consistent schedule and technique when your kiddo's first learning how to get dressed. So for example, teaching them to begin with how to don their shirt or put on their shirt the same way each time. If it's not working for them after consistent practice, then of course trying a different technique. But when they're first being introduced to it, trying to keep it as consistent as possible. And so maybe when they're learning to practice their shirt, because there's several ways that we all do it, maybe deciding, that first they're gonna pull it over their head and then they're gonna put their arms through the sleeves. And then if that's not working after, trying consistently, then going to a different technique. Another one that's helpful is visual schedules. So visual schedules or pictures of dressing and step-by-step sequence can be helpful for your kiddos to remember all of the steps of getting dressed, okay, and to not skip over a certain part. And then you also want to make sure that you're avoiding tight clothing and giving them lots of space to work with. Tight clothing makes it harder to pull down. Lots of layers are also not a very good idea when they're first learning. So loose clothing, such as a sweatshirt, and using a size up even can be helpful. And then lastly, make sure that when you're introducing dressing, you're not in a time rush to get somewhere. Maybe that's not the best time for them to be practicing it independently. Make sure that you're giving them time to practice and not rushing them through it. That can just make the task much more frustrating to them. And so make sure that you're providing ample time for them to practice. Okay, so again, this was Miss Ashley with your therapist tip of the week, and I hope this was helpful. Bye guys.